Hello, and welcome to the final part of the photo booth training for Enchanted Celebrations. Once you've set up the photo booth, you will need to do a test print on every job. When you do the test print, once the strips print out, make sure that you're checking that the couple's name is spelled correctly, that the date is on there, especially look for the correct year, and lastly, make sure that the photo quality is clear and bright. Every guest that goes in the booth gets a copy of the photo strip if they request it. So it automatically only prints out 2 copies of the photo strip. To do a reprint, you just need to hit Control-R. The Control-R function only works for the most recent session. If additional copies are needed, you can just hit Control-R again. For example, if 5 people go in the booth, you will need 6 copies. 1 will be for the scrapbook, and 5 will be for the guests. You would have to hit reprint twice in that case. If a guest comes up and requests a reprint of a photo from a previous session, you cannot use the Control-R function. You will need to escape out of Darkroom, go to the main screen of Darkroom, click on Prints in the top left-hand corner, select the strip that you wish to reprint. Once you do this, a green highlight will appear around it, and then from there, you will click the drop-down arrow next to Print at the top and select the option to reprint. A photo strip from each session should be placed into the scrapbook that is given to the bride and groom at the end of the night. Again, if there are 6 guests in the photo booth, you will need to print out 7 copies. 1 will be for the scrapbook, and then there will be 6 for each guest. Each photo strip should be glued into the scrapbook, and you can request that each guest signs it. Sometimes they don't, but you can still request it. And then make sure that you're putting 4 to 5 photo strips on each page. Fill the front and the back. So at the end, there should be between 8 and 10 pictures per page of the scrapbook. And make sure that you're staggering the pictures so that when guests do sign it, the marker does not bleed through. Also remember to get a picture of the bride and groom, and once you do, make sure that goes on the first page of the scrapbook. Once you receive your event details for the event that you are working, you are required to call the client on Monday to confirm all of the details. The details that you want to confirm are the times and locations of the event. Especially make sure that you're confirming the city, because there are some venues that have the same name but are located in different cities. Make sure that they did approve the strip, the requirements that you will need for the booth, which are a 6-foot table and then a space for the actual booth itself. Always tell the client when you plan to arrive and to be set up by. Tell them that you will not be open for cocktail hour and you will open once dinner is served. And remind them to stop by the booth at some point in the night so you have a picture for the scrapbook. In regards to gear, it is your responsibility to pick up and drop off gear as needed as the subcontractor. I will try to make it as easy as possible for you, but sometimes it's out of my hand, and ultimately, as a subcontractor, it is your responsibility. We do not compensate additionally for gear pickup or drop off. If you are unable to pick up the gear before or after an event, do not pick up the event itself. When transporting the gear, it is really important that you do not roll the black supply box over bumpy surfaces. The printer is located in the box and it can damage the printer. Also, make sure you're carrying the box up the steps instead of dragging it. Lastly, do not leave the booth in your car overnight, especially on hot or cold days. Finally, if you experience any issues, it's important that you follow the proper troubleshooting techniques. First, you want to make sure that you are letting the tablet power on completely before plugging in any wires to the devices. You also want to re-roll the paper tray before starting the job. The paper can often get jammed from sitting in the printer for too long. If the camera automatically goes to the tablet camera, and does not go to the Canon or Nikon, you will need to turn off the camera and then turn it back on. If you have any other issues that you cannot fix with these troubleshooting techniques, you will need to call the emergency line at 609-618-5999 This number is located at the top of your event details, and somebody monitors it at all times during the weekend. Make sure that you connect to Wi-Fi before calling that emergency line in case somebody needs to remote in.